The NFL divisions don't make any sense. Why is a team named the Cowboys, who you would think would be located in a Wild West deserted area, playing teams on the East Coast? Why are the Miami Dolphins, a team more south than any other franchise, playing teams who have to shovel snow off their field on Sundays? Why are the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears considered division rivalries? Now, some questions may never be answered, but I did attempt to answer this question when I dropped this video right here 2 years ago. This video specifically still played alongside the current division rules of the NFL, with 8 divisions of 4 teams conjoined with 2 conferences. But I wanted to branch this division realignment with the likings of college football in the NHL to create what I will call super divisions. Instead, there will now be 4 divisions of 8 teams, still separated under the 2 conferences, just how the NHL does it. Let's start out west with the easiest division to realign. This is now the AFC Pacific. The reason why it's the easiest, it's because it's the 2 NFC and AFC West divisions combined, those 8 teams. So you still have all the same rivalries like you did in the past, but you have some new rivalries, including the Niners versus the Raiders, which somebody's gonna get beat to death every time they play outside the stadium. We also have a Los Angeles rivalry with the Chargers and Rams. I don't really know if you could call them the rivalry. I think the main rivalry between these 2 teams is with their own fans showing up to their games. This should be the least controversial division I realigned today because all these teams are essentially Pacific, other than some few outliers, which include the Kansas City Chiefs and the Broncos. So the 8 teams together, the Seahawks, Niners, Raiders, Chargers, Rams, Cardinals, Broncos, and Chiefs. I also included these 2 little stats for each division to give you an idea how long they travel and how well these teams are together. Let's start with their combined record. As of last year, 2024, these 8 teams went 74-62 for a .544 win rate. Not bad. Now, how about the combined miles, or the total distance between all the teams combined? It's 2,828 miles, and in parentheses, the average between each team is 353.5. This is definitely the most out of any division because, well, it's the Pacific, it's the west area of the United States. There's a lot of flyover states, which means there's a lot of land to travel, especially for the Chiefs and the Seahawks. They, of course, have to go a long way. They're the outliers compared to everybody else. They're more centralized in the Southwest Pacific area. What you'll notice is that the total distance for the other divisions will be much shorter than the AFC Pacific, so let's get to the next one in the AFC. This one will be called the AFC Southeast. So the AFC will control the West and the South. This one includes the Texas teams, the Saints, the Titans, the Falcons, and then the 3 Florida teams. You might feel like a team or 2 has been left off, including the Carolina Panthers, which makes sense that they should be in the Southeast. However, it will make sense that they're in the NFC in just a moment. You know, looking at all these teams in whole, I did not realize how bad this division actually is. The 8 teams that have the Cowboys, Texans, they are probably the best, for the Saints, Titans, Falcons, Jaguars, Buccaneers, and the Dolphins. Yikes. Matter of fact, their combined record as of last year is 55-81 for a .404 win rate. But on the positive side, said no one ever, the combined miles is only 1,894, which is almost 1,000 less than the AFC Pacific, for an average of 236.8 miles traveled together. That's about all this division has going for them, except the Buccaneers and maybe the Texas team. So we'll see what happens with this one. Let's head over to the NFC for the NFC Great Lakes. This is probably my favorite division, not just because it has the Packers in it, but it's also probably the most stacked, and it's probably the best geographically because all these teams are essentially Great Lake border teams. Maybe except the Indianapolis Colts, but everybody else kind of makes sense with the Vikings, Packers, Bears, Colts, Lions, Browns, and then the Steelers and Bills. So yeah, this division is pretty good. It also keeps intact a lot of good rivalries as well because the NFC North all stays the same. You also have the Steelers and Browns together, the AFC North, if you would have called that a rivalry, I guess. Their combined record was 79-57 for a .581 win rate. I think that's the best out of all 4 of these divisions. And their combined miles is only getting shorter as they have 1,223 combined miles with an average of just under 153. And for our final division, it's the NFC Atlantic, which is kind of like the Metropolitan Division as well because it has all the big cities. It has Boston, New York, Philadelphia, the nation's capital, with a couple outliers being Charlotte and then, of course, Cincinnati. But together, this division makes a lot of sense. On the Atlantic coast, I needed the opposite of Pacific, of course. I will say this division is very average. It seems like you have 4 good teams and then 4 not so good teams, which are the Panthers, Giants, Jets, and Patriots holding them down. But then you have the Eagles, Commanders, Bengals, and Ravens. Their combined record was actually negative as of last year, 64-72. However, these 8 teams together, I feel like they'll do better this year. But now for the combined miles, as I said, the distance is only going to go down. This is the shortest distance traveled for any division, with 1,100 and averaging just under 140. So that's a look at the new realigned NFL with the 4-division format, each division having 8 teams. Well, 20 damn days later, I finally remembered how to start a Madden franchise. Matter of fact, in the time since I recorded that intro, a whole damn war broke out in the Middle East. Apparently, it's over now, too. That's actually the second most important conflict that happened in the last few weeks because we had football YouTuber beef. I don't know how you get on the bad side of my man Bordeaux, but old man yelling at a cloud figured out how to do that. But anyways, back to the video. I kind of want to treat this video like a realignment, but also kind of like a rebuild video. So I want to choose a team from the NFC Great Lakes, one of the bad teams, of course. My options would be Chicago, Cleveland, and Indianapolis. I kind of want to use the Bears, which is weird as a Packers fan. Maybe I finally gained the resentment against them. No, that would never happen. I'm blind. This is what we'll be working with the Chicago Bears in the NFC Great Lakes. Let's just see if we can kick off our campaign in the NFC Great Lakes with a Week 1 victory. Looks like we're not that good still. We're getting beat up by the Broncos right now. We'll be 0-1. We lose 28-14. I'm hoping Caleb Williams is not going to be the problem here. We do have a divisional matchup against the Browns in Week 2. They might be the worst team in our division, but every game counts. I mean, wow, we suck. We just lost to Carson Beck and the Cleveland Browns. What an awful sentence to say. Now, I don't want to spend too long in year 1 because look at our cap room. We have a lot of money and a lot of space to make some moves going into the future seasons. Let's simulate up to the midseason mark to see how the Realigned NFL is doing. So even though I'm taking the standings from the franchise itself, it only matters for tiebreakers because let's break it down by the divisions. We're going to start in the AFC because it's not as crazy as the NFC. Here's the AFC Pacific, rounding up the bottom with the Cardinals, the Niners, and then you have the Seattle Seahawks and the Rams at 4-3, who are just out of the picture at the moment. But currently 4 teams in a playoff spot in the Pacific with the Denver Broncos, the LA Chargers. To my surprise, the Raiders are second in the Pacific right now, and the Kansas City Chiefs are unbeaten, of course, the number 1 seed in the AFC at 6-0. On the other side of things in the AFC Southeast, I said this division was weak at the beginning of the video, and I actually meant that because they kick it off with the Jacksonville Jaguars, 0-6, winless. Next up is the Saints and Falcons, 2-5. The Bucks not as good as I want them to be at 2-4. Same goes for the Houston Texans at 2-4. Look at the Tennessee Titans at 3-3, but just out of the picture. And here is the Dallas Cowboys at 4-2, and the Miami Dolphins currently lead the AFC Southeast at 5-2 with a 2 seed. You might notice there's only 6 seeds. I'll get to that in just a second. Let's take a look at the NFC, and my goodness, this is weird. So starting with the division we're in, the NFC Great Lakes, I think I chose the right video to not be my Green Bay Packers because they're in last place and they are 0-7. As awful as that sounds, who's above them? The Detroit Lions are 7th in the division. They're 2-4. The Minnesota Vikings are 6th in the division. They're 3-4. We are above every other NFC North team at the moment right now, and I haven't even won a game myself. We're 3-3. We have a chance. The top 4 in the Great Lakes, though, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers at 4-3. The Cleveland Browns are 4-3, and then you have the Buffalo Bills at 4-3, the tiebreakers. But the leading in the division right now is the Indianapolis Colts at the 2 seed at 5-2. How about the NFC Atlantic? The Giants at the bottom, the Commanders, to my surprise, down there, the Ravens as well, but they are 4-3. The Patriots above them, the Panthers above them, the Jets above them, and then the Cincinnati Bengals at 5-2, and the Eagles lead the division at 5-2. Now this is the playoff picture at the halfway point of the 2025 season. The first thing I must mention is that yes, I did change the format. I reverted it back to how it used to be with only 12 teams, and here's the reason why I did that. Because there are 4 divisions, 2 in both conferences, it worked out perfectly that whoever is leading the division would get a bye. I think that's only fair. So the teams that have the byes right now, the Chiefs, Eagles, Dolphins, and Colts, are the teams who are currently at the front of all their divisions. I'm curious on how some of these teams are doing so well. The Colts, their answer is Anthony Richardson. He's actually progressed to a top-tier quarterback. And because I imported the rookie draft class and simulated the draft, we'll have players like Shedeur Sanders at the Raiders, who's actually playing out of his mind and is why they're 2nd place in the AFC Pacific. These rookies just don't make no sense. Carson Beck is doing good. Seems to me DK Metcalf and Rodgers are clicking in Pittsburgh. Like I said, I don't want to spend too much time in year 1. I don't care if you missed the playoffs this year. I just want to see what happens in the playoffs this year. What? We made the playoffs. Oh, I mean, according to the franchise, we made the playoffs. We'll have to see if you made the playoffs according to the new realigned divisions. We went 9-8. Let's just hope the best. Yeah, I'm just scrolling through all the standings right now before I add it up in the actual divisions, and a lot of teams went 8-9, 9-8, so it explains why we actually sneaked our way in. Let's see if we'll make it for real, though. All right, moment of truth on who made the playoffs in the realigned NFL. Back to the AFC Pacific. Man, the Rams fell off, finishing 6-11. The Cardinals just above them at 7-10. The Seahawks and Broncos 8-9, and 4 teams made the playoffs from the AFC Pacific, with being the Niners at 9-8 with the 5 seed, then the Raiders, who hanged on, and then the Chargers at 2, and the Chiefs still get the number 1 overall seed and win the AFC Pacific in year 1 at 13-4. Now, if 4 teams from the AFC Pacific made it means only 2 made it from the AFC Southeast, which was expected. At the bottom is the Jaguars and the Saints, both 4-13. The Titans 6-11. The Falcons are 7-10. The Dolphins fell off a little bit at 8-9. The Buccaneers couldn't make the playoffs at 8-9, and then both Texas teams, like I said, the only ones holding up the AFC Southeast, made the playoffs. The Texans at 9-8 in the 6th seed, and the Cowboys win the division, so they automatically get a bye at 10-7. Even though the Chargers had a better record, they won their division, they get a bye. Now, did the Bears make the playoffs in the first year of realignment? Let's see. The Packers had a good rebound. They started 0-7, finished 7-10, right there with the Vikings. The Browns finished 8-9, and then you can see we missed the playoffs. Even though we went 9-8 and we made the playoffs in the actual franchise, it's not the format we're using, so it doesn't matter at all. The Lions did better than us. They didn't make the playoffs. So did the Steelers, who went 10-7. No playoffs. That's the most Steeler thing ever. But two teams from the Great Lakes made it. The Buffalo Bills at 10-7, and the Colts hanged on. Anthony Richardson turned into a stud this year, winning 14 games and getting the 1 seed in the NFC. In the NFC Atlantic, the Giants finished 5-12. The Patriots down there. The Commanders, to my surprise, and the Bengals as well, both finished 9-8. 4 teams from the Atlantic make the playoffs, including the Carolina Panthers at 10-7, the New York Jets with Justin Fields at 10-7, and then makes sense, the Eagles at 10-7, and the Ravens get the 2 seed, winning the Atlantic at 11-6. And our MVP goes to the NFC Atlantic winner, Lamar Jackson. So the Jets made the playoffs with Justin Fields with 23 touchdowns and 18 interceptions. It seems to me there was different factors involved in why the Jets were actually good. The Panthers were another surprising playoff team with 35 touchdowns from Bryce Young with 22 interceptions. Gotta watch those turnovers a little bit, but he threw pretty well. Like I said, Anthony Richardson turned into the quarterback of the future this year, apparently. 39 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. So now here is the official playoff reveal for our first realigned season. And the AFC, the 1 seed, the Chiefs, the 2 seed, the Cowboys, NFC, the 1 seed, Colts, and the 2 seed, Ravens. Now for the wild card, the AFC, the Raiders versus Niners. I said earlier when these two teams matched up, somebody always gets beat to death outside the stadium. That's definitely happening here. And the Chargers versus Texans is a solid game as well. NFC is a little questionable, but I'm excited to see Justin Fields take on Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, alongside Bryce Young taking on the defending Super Bowl champions. Opening off the 2025 wild card is this AFC Pacific matchup with the Raiders and Niners trailing by 4 at San Francisco, but a first down to George Kittle. From the 48, a first down and a broken tackle for Ayuk as he runs to the 20, and he'll get tackled to the 19. No timeouts called, 25 seconds remaining for a rush for the Raiders. A catch by George Kittle at the 1, but he stopped right there. They call their final timeout. A healthy Christian McCaffrey in the backfield. Instead, they'll pass to George Kittle for a touchdown as they'll go up 3 points with 19 seconds. And unfortunately, Shedeur Sanders and the Raiders were not able to close this game out. He was too busy getting cited for his 3rd speeding ticket. And in the 3 versus 6, the home seed Chargers get it done and move on to the divisional. So the AFC divisional is set. Let's go over to the NFC, where Justin Fields and the Jets have a chance to do the unthinkable. 2nd and 13 handoff works perfectly. Great blocks downfield inside the 10. Now 2nd and goal from the 3 on the run. Justin Fields delivers for a touchdown for the Jets to tie this game up at 21. Is Josh Allen and the Bills action a little bit of trouble? Where the offensive line at? They have to go check down. Doesn't work. It's 4th and 12. And Justin Fields is putting on a clinic, driving down the field. They just need a field goal or a touchdown to win this game. They get a field goal with 7 seconds left. The Jets pull off a stunner here in Buffalo and move on to the divisional. Could we see back-to-back upsets in the NFC? Who knows? This conference has been crazy as Bryce Young just threads the needle in the offensive line, and he's in the end zone. That being said, Philadelphia needs to respond, but they don't. The Carolina Panthers get it done, and they top the Jets' efforts of the best upset in the NFC. So on to the divisional of the 2025 season. It's time to see if the division champs will actually stand their ground. The AFC Pacific champion Kansas City Chiefs are pulling away with this one unless the Niners can get on the board again, which they won't. Kansas City will go on to the AFC Championship, winning 24-17. The AFC Southwest champion Dallas Cowboys need a touchdown for a chance to find their way to the AFC Championship with CeeDee Lamb, and they're up by 1 singular point. The Cowboys should go for 2, and then let's see if they can hold off against the Chargers 15-12. They get the football back, and they were moving on to the AFC Championship to play the Kansas City Chiefs. Anthony Richardson versus Bryce Young, the battle of the 2023 draft picks. Right now, Bryce Young is getting the best of them, 13-10. The Carolina Panthers are going to the NFC Championship. Is this 2015? Unfortunately, the Justin Fields run ends there as the Ravens, the champions of the NFC Atlantic, move on to the NFC Championship. So 3 out of 4 division winners will move on to the championship games. The one that's not is the Great Lakes winner Colts, just proving how bad my division actually was, which is weird. You have the battle of who can be a more insufferable fan base in the Chiefs and the Cowboys, and the Panthers versus Ravens. Interesting. I am cheering for a meteor to strike down on Arrowhead Stadium. It's currently 10-7 Kansas City. They put another touchdown on the board, and they might be going to another Super Bowl if they hold the Cowboys off. Yes, they will. The champions of the AFC are the Kansas City Chiefs. Boring. I don't know about y'all, but I'm cheering for Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers. They need a touchdown. They're up 27-24. Ravens can't put a point on the board. The Carolina Panthers win the NFC, and they're going to their 2nd ever Super Bowl. Correction, 3rd. they played one against Tom Brady. I cannot believe that this is a Super Bowl matchup in a realigned season, but all I know is I stand with the people. We want the Panthers. Currently tied at 7 past halftime. Kansas City takes a 14-7 lead, a 21-7 lead, and it looks like it's all too late for the Carolina Panthers. We just let Kansas City win another Super Bowl. I mean, no matter what you do, you can realign the whole NFL. You can't prevent this. Just great. Well, it seems this realigned season was too much for Aaron Rodgers. He's going to be hanging up the cleats. Wait, hold up a second. It's time. I'll miss the game, but I want to spend more time with my family. Rodgers cut off his family. I think they got the messages mixed up. Cameron Hayward's also retiring from the Steelers, but at least he didn't mention family. He's the one who should have been talking about it. Anyways, that's a conclusion for 2025 as the Kansas City Chiefs win yet another Super Bowl. Isaiah Pacheco with the MVP in the Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson the actual MVP. But enough about all this. It's time to focus on the Chicago Bears once again going to 2026. We have some moves to make. So starting our offseason for Chicago, I probably should spend some of these franchise tokens. I literally never do this, but I mean, I guess this is part of the game. I know our offensive line is quite a big issue, so let's spend some points to upgrade that. Now it's time to go through and sign a lot of our players. Like I said, we have a lot of money to spend, so it's really not a big deal if you had to let a lot of these dudes loose. Jaquan Brisker is one specifically I would like to bring back as an 85 overall, 27 years old. I'll give him a friendly offer, and he's gone. Okay, goodbye. Another dude turned down a friendly offer. I guess no one wants to play for Chicago. I don't blame him. Gerald Everett wants to re-sign with us, so I'm gonna lowball the hell out of him. Maybe he comes back. Okay, yeah, I don't blame you. I'm thinking of franchise tagging Jaquan Brisker. It's gonna run me up about $20 million, but everyone turned me down anyway, so I have money to spend. Now for free agents, James Cook is the first player to catch my eye. He's actually got some interest in us. He's still 26 years old, 89 overall. I'll offer him a $7 million salary, and we'll just see how that goes. That does put us at the very top of the offers. We also need to address our secondary quite a bit. Josh Metellus has a lot of interest in Chicago. I'm offering him $15 million on 3 years. He quite likes it. I'll also offer a 1-year deal to Grover Stewart, a defensive tackle. And we successfully landed James Cook and Josh Metellus so far. So we worked out 7 total free agency signings, nothing too crazy. Brock Purdy's heading to Los Angeles. Weird. Dexter Lawrence to Atlanta. Derrick Henry to the Cardinals. Now it's time to see who we get from this draft, preferably some offensive line or secondary prospects. I think we have to go for a safety, even though we literally just re-signed one. He is a little bit old. This dude's a top fit for us. Jermaine Caldwell at the 20th overall pick. Second round went for a left guard, Andy Adams, who was ranked number 12 in true value. We drafted him at the 52nd spot. Our first 2 picks were pretty solid. Jermaine Caldwell's a 74, Andy Adams is 75. Everybody else really doesn't matter. Now, since we signed James Cook, I'm going to see what the offers we can get for DeAndre Swift. Not too sure how I feel about it, but we did fill a gap on our team. DeAndre Swift in a second round pick for Owusu Karamoa. So this is our 2026 roster with an 87 overall offense. Solid. Defense is still pretty weak, however, at an 83 overall. Let's jump up to week 5. A solid start for Chicago. We're 3-1. We're playing the Lions at home, who are 0-4 and much better than us overall wise. Yeah, I think it makes sense we lose this game. The Lions really should not be 0-4. They're 1-4 now. This is another Great Lakes opponent. We're down by 4 points. 3rd and 9. Caleb Williams is not looking, and he goes down for 4th and 15. This is not good. We should not be losing these division games like this. We're 4-4. Simming up to week 12, I guess we went on a little win streak. Now we're 7-4, and we play the Buffalo Bills at home. Second attempt for 28. Cole Kmet is open wide off the step, but he drops the pass. Come on. 55-yard kick with Cairo Santos. Good power, and right down the middle. No, it misses. Are you serious? That was perfect power. Is he just that weak? Back in the end zone. Oh my goodness. What the hell? Look, I knew I was bad at Madden from the start, but when my receivers drop the football like that, it makes things 2 times worse. So we've reached our bye week at 7-5. I think now is a good time to take a look at the rest of the league. So let's go over these standings quicker. In the AFC Pacific, the Raiders at the bottom at 2-9. The Broncos are 3-8. Then the Niners and Rams both 5-6. The Seahawks 6-6. 3 teams currently in a playoff spot in the AFC Pacific. It's the LA Chargers at 8-4. Kansas City's not number 1. They're 8-3. The Arizona Cardinals are leading the AFC Pacific right now at 9-2 with the number 2 seed. Now for the AFC Southeast, nothing too new. The Titans at the bottom at 3-9. 3 teams are 4-7. That's the Saints, Dolphins, and Falcons. The Cowboys had a little bit of a fall off. They're 5-6 right now. The Jaguars are finally playing to their potential. They hold the 6th seed at 7-4. The Buccaneers are 8-3, the 3 seed, and the number 1 seed, the AFC right now, is the Houston Texans leading the Southeast at 9-2. Up to our division, the NFC Great Lakes, the Vikings are 3-9. That's awful. The Cleveland Browns are 3-8. The Lions, for whatever reason, not playing good in this video. They're 5-6. The Colts had a major fall off. They're 5-6. Here we are. The Chicago Bears are 7-5, just out of a playoff spot because the Bills are above us at 7-4. The Pittsburgh Steelers are 8-4, and the Green Bay Packers are leading the NFC Great Lakes at 8-3, the number 2 seed. NFC Atlantic has a huge difference in the top and the bottom. The Giants are the bottom at 3-9. The Panthers not doing so good. They literally just made the Super Bowl. The Patriots are 4-8. The Jets are 4-7. The Commanders are somehow 4-7. And then a huge jump to third place with the Philadelphia Eagles at 8-3. The Bengals in second at 9-2. And the Ravens hold the tiebreaker for the number 1 seed in the NFC at a record of 9-2. So this is the playoff picture at week 14 with 5 more games to play for Chicago. I gotta say these matchups look a lot better than last year, but I do want the Bears to find their way in somehow. This is a very important game against the Great Lakes leader Green Bay Packers. They're much better than us, but I have faith that we can take them down. Let's see if we can actually win a game on camera. DJ Moore has some space here off this mesh route. That's a first down. Wide open is DJ Moore. Wide open is DJ Moore. Please, please. Okay, we'll take it. First and goal for the 3. And a quick handoff to James Cook. This should be our first touchdown of the day. I can't believe this is the first time scoring a touchdown myself. We're gonna check down the James Cook. Good blocks as well, and should get out of bounds for another first down. There's a late flag too. Could that be a late hit? I think so. Add 15 more yards. And not take a sack here. That was a little too close. Might just be able to run this one in. We're up 14-10. The third down and 9 to prevent Green Bay from getting the football back. Wide open running lane for Caleb Williams. Please. First down. I mean, that's just a big win. Not only do we inch into a playoff spot, we might actually have a chance to taking down the division title. So now I'm just simulating to the end of the regular season. Let's see if we make it. We finished 11-6. Surely we've ought to make the playoffs. Let's first look at some stats. Joe Burrow should definitely win MVP with about 5,000 yards, 48 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. This does explain why the Texans won the AFC Southeast. CJ Stroud had a great year. This receiving leaderboard has got me confused. Christian Kirk leads the top. Tank Dell. I mean, who the hell is Bub Means? Burrow did not win MVP, surprisingly. It goes to Josh Allen, his second in 3 years. And now it's time for the 2026 final standings, starting with the AFC Pacific. The Raiders at the bottom, the Niners at 6-11. Seattle's also 6-11. Denver's 7-10. The Rams finished 9-8, but not good enough to beat the tiebreaker of the LA Chargers at 9-8, who also get the 6th seed. And the top two ended up being the Arizona Cardinals and the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs did get back the division lead, and they will win back-to-back AFC Pacific titles. But what a season for the Arizona Cardinals. It's unfortunate that they did not get a bye because they lost the tiebreaker to the number 1 Kansas City Chiefs. And onto the AFC Southeast, the Saints and Falcons at 5-12 at the bottom, the Dolphins and the Titans at 6-11. The Cowboys, who made the AFC Championship last year, won't even be making the playoffs. They finished 9-8. And the top 3 in this division, the Buccaneers finished 10-7. The Jaguars finished 10-7 with the tiebreaker, the 4th seed, and the AFC Southwest champions is going to be the Houston Texans at 11-6. And now on to the NFC Great Lakes, where this entire division almost took a U-turn, except for the Vikings and Browns, who finished 4-13 and 6-11. The Colts finished 8-9. The Lions missed the playoffs at 9-8. So did the Pittsburgh Steelers, missing the playoffs at 10-7. If there was a 7th seed, they would have made it. The top 3 are all in playoff spots, including us, the Chicago Bears, who just made it in at the 6th seed at 11-6. The Green Bay Packers at 5 seed, 12-5, and the Buffalo Bills are the Great Lakes winners at the number 2 seed, 13-4. And on to the NFC Atlantic, both New York teams finished at the bottom. The Carolina Panthers, they made the Super Bowl, and they're one and done. They went 6-11. It's just like them in real life. The Patriots finished 7-10. The Commanders finished negative at 8-9, and the top 3, Philadelphia Eagles at 12-5, Cincinnati Bengals at 13-4, but lost the tiebreaker to the Baltimore Ravens, the NFC Atlantic champions back-to-back at 13-4, and also the number 1 seed in the conference. So this is the official playoff bracket for the 2026 season. The AFC number 1 seed Kansas City Chiefs, number 2 seed Houston Texans. Wildcard matchups, we still have the Battle of Florida, but this time it's going to be in Jacksonville versus Tampa Bay, and then the Cardinals will take on the Chargers in Arizona. The NFC number 1 seed Ravens, number 2 seed Bills. Fun wildcard games. We have the Eagles versus Packers, a rematch of the actual wildcard game last season, and then we made up the 6th seed playing the Cincinnati Bengals on the road. 2026 wildcard is underway. It seems like the Jaguars were first round exits as the Buccaneers will win 24-10. And then the other wildcard game, Mr. What If Man Justin Herbert could not do enough against the 13-4 Arizona Cardinals. If Green Bay chokes away this game, they might have to ban the tush push again, but instead Green Bay destroys the Eagles somehow. The Eagles get bounced in back-to-back wildcard rounds and the Packers move on. Now this is the only wildcard game I truly care about. I need Caleb Williams to put a touchdown and a 2-point conversion on the board. Great start to DJ Moore. Brings us to the 38. DJ Moore's involved again for close to a first down. 22 yards out. Another catch by DJ Moore. His 3rd in a row, this time to the 11. 3rd and 2 from the 3. Caleb Williams to the end zone to Roma Dunze. It's 30 to the 30. Now we need 2 more. You see, this is what happens when I don't play the game myself. We actually put up a lot of points. James Cook with a handoff. No! Is there any chance we get the football back? There is not. The Bengals will close this one out, and we get bounced in the wild card round in 2026. That being said, let's quickly sim through the rest of this playoffs, and let's see who wins the Super Bowl in the 2nd year of realignment. To my surprise, the Buccaneers take down the number 1 seed Kansas City Chiefs, so there's not a chance for a repeat Super Bowl. 3rd and goal from the 8. Check down the Joe Mixon. There's some space, but it's going to be be 4th and goal from the 4. This play decides the game. Play action. CJ Stroud steps up and runs, and he gets taken down by Robinson, and the Cardinals get the ball. Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals are going on to the AFC Championship. On to the NFC, the Green Bay Packers need an upset in 60 seconds to move on to the NFC Championship. 30 seconds ago, Jordan Love, a good completion to Tucker Kraft, and they call their final timeout the 8. 30 seconds, Love floats this one up in the corner. Oh my goodness, he just got Christian Watson's ACL torn again. You gotta know better than that. Watson's legs are made of glass panes from Minecraft. There's Jordan Love again. A bullet pass works better this time, but Tucker Kraft can't find the end zone, and they have no timeouts. No and zeros are on the board. They couldn't get another playoff. They get stopped at the 1-yard line by the number 1 seed Ravens, who are going on to the NFC Championship. Let's see if the Bills can tie this game or take a lead 27-23, but Joe Burrow does what Joe Burrow does best. They get a touchdown. The Bengals are moving on to the NFC Championship. So here's the championship games. It's kind of odd that both teams in the AFC Championship should actually be in the NFC, and likewise, a little weird there, but the Cardinals will be playing the Buccaneers in the AFC, and the Ravens against the Bengals in the NFC. Arizona's one football quarter away from going to the Super Bowl. They go up by 2 scores. Buccaneers are still fighting back, but it's not enough. The Cardinals are back to the Super Bowl. It's 21-21 late in the 4th quarter. The Bengals get the football back and get a field goal on the board, and the Bengals will be going to their 2nd Super Bowl in the last 4 years. Looks like the championship game curse for Lamar Jackson carried over to the NFC as well, but we got a very interesting Super Bowl. Both the number 3 seeds in both conferences, the Cardinals versus the Bengals. Both of these teams finished 13-4 in the regular season. Derrick Henry, I forgot he's in the Cardinals now. He's got him to 1st and goal at the 5. This could very well be his first Super Bowl ring. I'm very surprised Kyler Murray doesn't even at least have superstar ability, especially being 13-4. Marvin Harrison and Trey McBride are both at that level. However, Derrick Henry, another superstar, and he's in the end zone off a check down. They're up 23-20. Now, did they leave Joe Burrow a little too much time? No, he throws an interception. With that takeaway, will the Cardinals close out Super Bowl 61? They get another touchdown for insurance, and Arizona wins their first ever Super Bowl in franchise history, and Joe Burrow is 0-2 in the big game. So that will give us a fitting end to the 2026 season. Now it's time to move on to our final year under the realignment in 2027. My only goal for the Bears is just to win to the Great Lakes division. I don't think we'll make the Super Bowl, but I'm going to try my best anyways. Let's give it one more go. This is unfortunately the year where we have to pick up Caleb Williams' 5th-year option. He's not interested at all, but we have to accept this. I'm going all in for this final year. Kyle Hamilton, a 93 overall X-Factor, has a lot of interest in Chicago, so let's give him a player-friendly deal. Unfortunately, the defending Super Bowl champions have a higher bid on him right now. We were not able to land Kyle Hamilton. He actually switches up on both of us, and Arizona goes to Tampa Bay. Arizona, however, did land Jair Alexander. We have landed some solid players, although they have regressed at this point quite a bit. Still very solid. Vita Vea, Elton Jenkins, Tarvarius Ward. Now, our final chance to prove anything with the Chicago Bears in the realigned NFL. Pretty promising start. We've been 88 overall offense. Caleb Williams up to an 89. James Cook is a 90. Our offensive line is refurbished. Our receivers at 87. Our defense is still our weakest link, but still, Jalen Johnson's progressed up to an X factor. We've also signed Vita Vea, Tarvarius Ward. We were able to bring back Brisker on an actually 4-year extension, so our defense is 85. Not bad. You know what? Screw it. I don't even want to do a midseason checkup. Let's just sim to the playoffs. Oh my goodness, the Bears went 13-4. Surely that's good enough to win the Great Lakes division. Let's check. How about some stats real quick first? Joe Burrow finally got his MVP. What a year for Caleb Williams, who ended up throwing for 38 touchdowns, 3,700 yards. Not a question needed for Burrow's MVP win. Seems Rome Odunze has progressed to be a better receiver than DJ Moore, but this is his 9th year of playing. James Cook almost became a 1,000-yard rusher, only found the end zone twice. Tyrone Simpson has 8 touchdowns. So let's run through the final standings one last time. You're probably bored of seeing this screen, but trust me, this is the most interesting final results of the 3 seasons we've done so far. The AFC Pacific starts with the Seahawks and the Raiders at bottom at 5-12. The Cardinals went 7-10. They just won the Super Bowl last year. No playoffs for them. The Niners were very underwhelming this season. They finished 7-10. The Chargers went 8-9. The 3 teams in a playoff spot for the Pacific are the Denver Broncos at 9-8. The LA Rams finally made it in at 11-6. And the Kansas City Chiefs with a 3-peat AFC Pacific title. Also a 3-peat for the number 1 seed. How lame. 13-4 for them. Now, this is where it gets interesting, and it might show how my realignment idea is completely flawed. The AFC Southeast at the bottom is the Miami Dolphins at 1-16 and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 2-15. Did climate change hit Florida or something? Are these stadiums underwater? What's going on? The Cowboys go 7-10. The Titans are 8-9. The Texans are 8-9. The 3 playoff teams from the Southeast, surprisingly, the Saints at 9-8. The Falcons at 9-8. The division winners, the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are getting a bye, keep that in mind, go 9-8. That might be the one problem I have with this video, is that the division winners will get buys. if this was to actually happen in the NFL, I would imagine these divisions would be much more balanced anyway, so I don't think you would see a 9-8 team get a bye if this was actually the realignment. On to the NFC, and you'll see how much better this conference performed compared to the AFC. Starting with the Great Lakes, the Vikings were pretty bad this video. They went 6-11. The Lions were also pretty bad too. I don't think they made the playoffs once. They finished 8-9. Then you have 3 9-8 teams. Keep in mind, these teams with the same record as the Jacksonville Jaguars, but they're not the ones in the bye seed. Matter of fact, they don't even make the playoffs. The Bills go 9-8, the Colts 9-8, the Packers 9-8. Cleveland actually goes 10-7, a great season for them, but misses the playoffs. That's how hard the NFC was this year. The top 2 teams make it. The Pittsburgh Steelers are the 4 seed, 11-6, and the Chicago Bears went 13-4, getting the number 1 seed and a bye, winning the NFC Great Lakes. That's all I cared about. Maybe we'll go on a Super Bowl run, no telling. Here's the NFC Atlantic. The Patriots at the bottom at 7-10. The Ravens, who won it back-to-back times, NFC Atlantic, go 8-9, and they missed the playoffs. The Giants go 9-8. The Jets go 10-7 and miss the playoffs, just like the Browns. And then 4 teams in a playoff spot. The Panthers go 10-7, but they win the tiebreaker over Cleveland. Cincinnati Bengals go 11-6. The Commanders finally did something. They make a playoff spot. And the Philadelphia Eagles finally win the NFC Atlantic. And the number 2 seed going 13-4. Oh my goodness. I know what you're thinking. How many graphics is this dude going to put in one video? But trust me, this is actually interesting in my case. I mean, I'm doing this for the love of the game. This is why I make videos. Let's break down the divisions on how well they did by team. The division winners and their combined record. The AFC Pacific, the Chiefs carried the mess out of them. If the Chiefs didn't do this good, this division was awful. They went 13-4 every single season to finish up 39-12, the best team in today's episode. The combined record for this division over the 3 seasons we played was just mediocre, thanks to the Chiefs, like I said, 205 and 203 for a .503 win rate. And then the division winners for the 3 seasons, you'll never believe this, the Chiefs, and get this, the Chiefs. I can gladly still stand by my word of the intro of this video that the AFC Southeast is the worst division of the 4. The best team in this division was the Texans, who finished at 28-23. The worst team today was the Miami Dolphins with 15 wins and 36 losses. Their combined record for the whole division ended up being 171-237 for a negative win rate with .419. And the 3 division winners in 2025 was the Cowboys, 26 it was the Texans, and most recently in 27 was the Jacksonville Jaguars. How about our division, the NFC Great Lakes? Somehow the Chicago Bears, us, got the best record. I mean, it feels a little scripted, but to be fair, we did have $120 million in cap space and a lot of good free agents, so I mean, the stars aligned there. The Bills, Steelers, and Colts all went 31-20. Even the Packers did pretty good at 28-23. The Lions still went positive, only 2 negative teams. The combined record was 221-187, which is the best record of the 4 divisions, with .542 win rate. That's exactly why I chose to play in this division, because I knew it was going to be the toughest, but somehow ended up being the best in our favor. And the 3 division winners, kind of odd, are the Colts in 25, didn't expect that. The Bills make sense in 26, and then Chicago Bears in 2027. And then on to the NFC Atlantic, where this division actually did pretty solid. The top 4 teams, as expected, the Eagles, Bengals, Ravens, Commanders, but the Jets and Panthers actually did pretty solid. I mean, up to their expectations, I guess. They went 1 game better than positive, which is nice. It's better than the New York Giants, who were stuck in purgatory. The record for this division over the 3 seasons was 218-190 for .534. And the division winners, the Ravens, got it done in 25 and 26, but the Eagles snatched it up in 2027. So let's end this video in a bang. And by bang, I mean Caleb Williams lifting the Lombardi Trophy. Well, I can only hope at least the wildcard games of the Broncos versus Falcons and the Rams versus Saints. Hopefully a PI call doesn't screw up the Rams this time. In the NFC, it's the Steelers versus Bengals and the Commanders versus Panthers, and the division winners all got buys. We got the number 1 seed, so we'll sit back and relax and watch the wildcard round real quick. Wildcard game number 1, the Broncos just took a 17-14 lead. They get the football back. Falcons have 1 more chance, not enough. The Denver Broncos are moving on. Saints and Falcons are tied at 21. Not anymore. The Saints have scored a touchdown right as time expires, and they'll be moving on to the divisional round. Cincinnati gets it done against Pittsburgh. We might end up playing the Bengals in the second round. Well, nope, we'll be playing the Bengals because the Commanders won, and now the divisional round is set. So we have the 1 seed Chiefs against the Saints, the 2 seed Jaguars against the Rams, the 1 seed Bears against the Bengals, a rematch from last season, and then we have the Commanders versus the Eagles, another rematch from real life. So to absolutely no one's surprise, the Kansas City Chiefs are back in the AFC Championship, and they will be playing Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars in the AFC Championship. Now, this is all I care about right now. It's a really weird score. It's a 9-point game. Well, never mind, not anymore. Well, we'll still have the lead. We'll get the possession of the football, hopefully put more points on the board. Can we stop Joe Burrow? It's a 3rd down and 10, 4th and 9. Can they kick a field goal from that distance? No, they punt. It comes down to Cincinnati's defense to stop us from getting a 1st down. If I'm Joe Burrow right now, I'm standing up and walking to the tunnel immediately. I would like to pick up this 1st down, but even if we don't, it's not the end of the world. We're passing the football. This better be a completion. Okay, what are we doing? 3rd down and 4. Do not go out of bounds. Caleb Williams actually runs for the 1st down. He has an angle and slides to the 48. What a clutch 1st down for Caleb Williams, and that's how we'll close out this game to the NFC Championship. beating the Bengals 14-12. Now, who will the Bears be playing at Soldier Field for the NFC Championship? We're tied going to the fourth quarter. Not anymore. Commanders take a 10-point lead up to 31-14. Washington is going to the NFC Championship. You can't see me right now, but my fingers and even my toes are crossed. So the Jacksonville Jaguars are the ones who win this AFC Championship game. I do not want to play the Kansas City Chiefs. And on top of that, I don't want to see the Chiefs win another Super Bowl because who wants to see that? But back to the NFC because we have a pretty favorable matchup. We're at home against the Commanders. I'm excited for this one. Let's see what happens in our championship games and let's hope we make the Super Bowl. Gotta give credit to my man Trevor Lawrence. He's putting on a show here in the AFC Championship and Brian Thomas gets loose to the 40. A touchdown would put him in the lead. Another first down completion. This one goes to Kirk to the 17. I don't think that man's a Jaguar anymore, but I make mistakes all the time. Trevor Lawrence, another completion to Kirk again to the 4. Maybe I should have taken him off the team. It's a little unfair. I mean, for being honest, it's Lawrence who's cooking up this defense right now. And there's a touchdown to Evan Ingram, which will tie the game in the meanwhile. I'm afraid that drive was a little too consistent because Mahomes gets the football with 2 minutes remaining. I wouldn't even be surprised if the Chiefs just dog walk the field. I mean, already starting with a 27-yard completion to Marquise Brown. Seems to me they're about to kick a game-winning field goal. The Chiefs are up 2 points, and unfortunately the Jaguars, they played good, but they scored way too early. Well, if we're able to score a touchdown and win here, then the Chiefs will await us in Super Bowl 62. Need to pick up this first down. James Cook has a wide open lane, and he rushes to the round of 6. So here's first and goal, delivering to Cole Kmet outside of the 1. I would like to waste some time here, but I also will take the touchdown. James Cook is in, and we'll be up by 7. Can we keep the Commanders out of the end zone with 2 minutes remaining in this game? They actually turned over the football, and we're running out the clock. We are going to the Super Bowl to play the Kansas City Chiefs. Wait, hold up, we punted the football. Just gotta make sure. We're good. We're good. Well, I can't believe it comes down to this. We look severely unmatched. We do have a chance at a game-winning drive. I don't really like that play. Roma Dunze gets leveled out of bounds, but does stop the clock. Oh, and someone's injured too. We got to get this first down. We cannot afford to give the ball back to Kansas City. Nice. Roma Dunze on a slant. 3rd down and 5 for Caleb Williams. Steps up in the pocket. He'll get the first down and a juke. Moore slides at the 35. Out of 50-yard kick from this distance. I would want it to be shorter because we missed with Cairo Santos earlier. What a catch. Diving catch for Roma Dunze, who's been all over the field this drive. I'm a little concerned why we're passing on 3rd and 10, but we score a touchdown with Roma Dunze anyway, so we're up 28-21. Kansas City does get the football back. I mean, surely Mahomes doesn't end up tying this game. It's not like he scored a touchdown with 13 seconds left. This time, they don't have any timeouts. It's over. The Chicago Bears will win the Super Bowl in year 3 of the NFL realignment. The haters who say my videos are scripted are absolutely loving this right now. I mean, you really couldn't have scripted this video any better looking at it, but it just worked out pretty perfectly. Well, here's a quick recap of what happened in the realigned seasons. The Chiefs won the first Super Bowl under the realignment, Super Bowl 60. Lamar won that MVP. The next year, 2026, in Super Bowl 61, the Cardinals got their first ever championship with Josh Allen getting the second MVP. And then in 2027, the Chicago Bears, under my free agency control, beat the Kansas City Chiefs with Joe Burrow winning the MVP. If you're watching this video a good 2-3 years from now, don't be surprised if this actually ends up happening in 2027. I am a Madden prophet after all. This was the playoff bracket in 2025, this was the bracket in 2026, and this was the bracket in 2027. With one final look of what this video was about the entire time, that being the NFL realignment. So that will conclude my first video in let me check the calendar real quick. About 50 days. Oh gosh, it's been that long. Yeah, so obviously it's been a pretty slow offseason, but football season is right around the corner, and especially the video games, College Football 26 and Madden 26 are coming out real soon. I got a lot planned, so obviously my next video will probably not be in 50 days. Anyways, I'll see you guys later.